Hey guys, Nate here. Today we're going to check what is going on with three weapons. The Laetum, the Epitaph, and the Tenet Plinx. We're going to see mostly rare interactions that these weapons have with Xata's Whisper, Pistol Acuity, and Dagath's Spectral Spirit Augment. Well, first, let's look at a simple critical chance calculation for the Tenet Plinx Allfire. Tenet Plinx Allfire has a 40% critical chance. So, in this case, we have a Gripping Bullseye, 200 critical chance, and Galvanized Crosshair, 120 critical chance, a headshot when aiming. So, we're going to see this calculation. So, this is the formula that is on the Warframe Wiki. So, we have total crit chance equals base crit chance times 1 plus the relative bonuses. The relative bonuses are things like Gripping Bullseye and Galvanized Crosshairs. So, the formula for our final CC is going to be 40% times 1 plus 200% from Gripping Bullseye and 120% from Galvanized Crosshairs. So, as a result, that gives us 184.8% final critical chance. This meaning we are going to be seeing 100% yellow crits, so they are secured, and 84.8% of orange crits. So let's see. So here I'm going to shoot a alt fire. So as we can see, there's a yellow crit and an orange crit, and now a direct impact is showing an orange crit. So that means our calculations are correct. So this new 1999 update mod, Pistol Acuity, says it gives 350% critical chance on weapon hits and 350% base damage on weapon hits too. So this mod acts as a separate multiplier, but what does a separate multiplier means? When we equipped Galvanized Crosshairs and Gripping Bullseye, we saw that the calculation was as it follows. The CC provided by both mods are added together since they are classified in the same category. So, this time, we aren't going to equip Galvanized Crosshairs, so you can see the crit tier difference. You can see the crit tier table here, so you can know what I'm talking about. Now, Pistol Acuity is not on the same category, so it doesn't add to the previous mods, but multiplies them, like this, resulting in a total of 594% critical chance, meaning we have secured tier 5 crits, 2 exclamation marks, and almost tier 6 crits, 3 exclamation marks. So, let's see. So, that's a separate multiplier. This happens with the Tenet Plinx Fire, the Epitaph Charge Shot, and the Laetum Incarnate form. Now that we know what is a separate multiplier, Dagath's critical damage from third ability works as a separate multiplier to RCD. But how do we know that? Yes, you guessed, calculating the damage. So we know that the Tenet Plinx has a 40% critical chance and 3 times critical damage on its Allfire, and the Allfire does 1600 base damage. Now we are going to equip Prime Target Tracker with a 110 critical damage increase. We are going to equip 2 Pistol Acuity, and we are going to equip 2 Dagath's Augment mod. In my case, It says it gives 157% critical damage against enemies that don't have Doom on it. Doom is the second ability. Since the Tenet Plinx has a base 40% critical chance, we are going to calculate damage for that crit tier, that is tier 1. And there's something I have to clarify before the calculations. The 350% damage increase in the weakpoint hits is in reality a 175%. So the formula is base damage times headshot multiplier times 1 plus 175% times critical multiplier, and that is the final critical damage. We know the base damage, the headshot multiplier has a value of 3, but how do we know the critical multiplier? Critical multiplier stands by this formula: 1 plus crit tier times base CD times 2 times modded CD minus 1. In this case, modded CD is 110%, base CD is 3 times, and Dagath's Augment is 157%, and crit tier is 1, since we are looking for a yellow crit. So our critical multiplier, theoretically, it should be, if it applies multiplicative to the base CD, 1 plus 1 times 3 times 1 plus 157% times 2 times 1 plus 110% minus 1, resulting in a total of 32.382 times critical damage. If not, it's going to add up to the modded city like this: 1 plus 1 times 3 times 2 times 1 plus 110% plus 157% minus 1, resulting in a total of 22.02 times critical damage. Now we calculate the damage for both cases. The multiplicative case will be 1600 times 3 times 1 plus 175% times 32.38, resulting in a total of 427k approximately. And for the additive case, it will be 1600 times 3 times 1 plus 175% times 22.02, resulting in a total of 290k damage. So let's confirm. So this is a fast section. We're going to talk about Worthy Comradery. This mod is bugged for these 3 weapons. The increase says plus 75%. It is a 150% increase. So how do we know that? Yep, testing. So same case, Tenet Plates plus Creeping Bullseye plus Worthy Comradery. CC should go as this: 40% times 1 plus 200% plus 75%, and that will be equal to 150% critical chance. So secure yellows and 50% oranges. So we test. So that wasn't a yellow or orange crit, it was a red crit. But why? The real CC calculation goes as this: 40% times 1 plus 200% times 1 plus 150%, and that will be equal to 300% critical chance. So that will be secured red crits. Xata has a real weird interaction with headshot multipliers, so it will double dip Acuity damage on weak points, primary and secondary deadhead headshot multiplier, and the OG headshot multiplier that we know is 3. So to see this, we are going to calculate the damage from Xata's Whisper first. So now we know that Xata dealt 44 damage. That's our base damage. For simplicity, I'm not going to explain the critical multiplier calculation, but it goes by this formula. No mod etc and accurate tier of 2. So the damage will be theoretically 44 times 3 squared times 1 plus 175% squared times 1 plus 30% squared times 11, resulting in a total damage of 55k damage. So, for the builds, we go Dagath obviously. For Tall for Shards of Ability Strength, 1 numeral 1 for the corrosive stacks. And this is the build. Worthy Comradery, Friendship Footed, some strength, and strength on the affordability, since this is the place where the helmet is going to be. Some energy, sustaining, and the augment, some duration, and rolling god. This arcane gives us damage on headshot and more ability strength with mold augmented. The Xata build is going to be the same, just Xata is going to be on this slot. So if you're going Xata, you're going to be with the Cedo, and you have to be dealing some headshots when you shoot the alt fire. And this is the build. You go with a Laetum, and this is going to be the build. Secondary deathhead, Acuity, fraction mod, some base damage, this is for the priming, corrosive, and critical stats. It doesn't matter if you're dealing red crits, if you're having Xata. Xata will deal a non-crit stance, and this is going to trigger. This is evolution 4, this is evolution 3, and this is evolution 2. For the Epitaph prime, you will use this build. Secondary deathhead, pistol acuity, corrosive, critical stats with Galvanized Crosshairs 2, Grooving Bullseye, and Galvanized Shot. This is important because here Galvanized Shot works as a multiplier to your base damage. And using Arca Titan, simple slam build, seismic wave, Galvanized reflex, melee influence. When you go with this Xata setup, you would like to use the Diriga with the Precept Arc Coil, and its weapon you can use the Burst Laser Prime. I'm using the Prisma Burst Laser because it has IPS, and you can do magnetic, radiation, and viral, and heat. You're going to be with radiation, so you can have some crowd control with the Diriga's Precept mod. And if you're going with Eclipse, you'll want to feel free and use Bubonico for primer, because the Xata bubble is not going to interfere, as is the build. You go with the Plinx, and this is the Plinx build. Some pistol acuity, Galvanized Shot is important, it is multiplicative too, to your base damage, critical stats, Grooving Bullseye, some corrosive, the valence bonus is a hit of 60%, the faction mod, and the deadhead. Go with the same build of Arca Titan, and in this case we use the Nautilus Prime. We use the Precept Cordon and Reinforced Bond for more fire rate. The weapon we're going to be using is Tazicor. Tazicor with corrosive, radiation, magnetic, and gold. We use Shivering Grenade for spraying all the statuses our Nautilus is dealing, and this is the build. Now we're going to be with the operator. This amp is a 777, you know, the flamethrower one. Magus Lockdown, some Magus Club for Q oil when using Bassery, Eternal Onslaught, and Eternal Eradicate. You can change this one for eternal logistics. And this is all for the builds.